Yeah. Coming to you every week from Sydney and Melbourne. It's Full Disclosure. The Jono and Dorje podcast. Jono and Dorje. Full disclosure in the raw. Raw. Jono and Dorje. Full disclosure. No holds barred. No holds barred. Okay, welcome to the Jono and Dorje Show, Full Disclosure, Episode 3. Jono, how you doing?
Oh, it's coming in hot, mate.
Good to hear. How's your week been in Melbourne?
Oh, it's good. Yeah. I'm happy to do a little Melbourne update for you straight away.
Go into it if you like. Yeah, be my guest.
Yeah, it was a long weekend in Melbourne this weekend, Dorje. I don't know if you guys had in Sydney a long weekend.
No.
Do you have Monday off?
No.
Nice. No, we get more holidays than Sydney. Not as many as Tasmania, but quite up there as far as states go. And it was, I think, a Labor Day or something like that. And a lot of people are away for the Golden Plains, which obviously you and I had a rollicking time at about 5 years ago, full disclosure.
We did.
Yeah. So I wonder if you remember any of that. But I went to Thievery Corporation.
Oh, yeah, that's right, you did. How was that?
Yeah, do you remember them?
Yeah, what are they, like a dub group or something? What do they do again? So is it like atmospheric or something? Refresh my memory.
So they had they had a big song off Cafe Del Mar that dong ding 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 dong.
No, that's not
a bit of tabla.
My memory at all. Tabla though, Tabla's cool. It's that's a
yeah. No, it was a zither or a tabla.
Okay, that's cool. Bit of East West 101 there. Bit of a
East West. They're from Washington DC, and they were a big kind of band in the 90s. It's a three-piecer. But yeah, wandered off to that with Tommy Nissen. Had a free ticket for me.
Great. So you found a new act then, 90s. So you sort of updating the tastes. It's great to hear, mate.
I don't want to find anything new.
What's next?
I'm happy with what I've got, mate. I just keep going to the bank of stuff I like.
A little band I found called the Beatles, mate. They're looking pretty hot. You can take it from me. It's called the Best of the Beatles. I'll pass it on to you, and let's just say you'll be on a good thing. You'll be the coolest guy at your next soiree. No. So Thievery Corp.
Not according to Quincy Jones, the Beatles. No. They're not so great.
No, he thought they were pretty poxy.
But yeah, so I went. Yeah, he said they were shit. He said Ringo was shit.
Did he say also Brando slept with Richard Pryor? That's what he said, didn't he, recently?
He did. He did. And then they fact-checked it, and Richard Pryor's wife, or, widow, said, yeah, I'm straight. And she said that's because the drugs were so good back then.
Yeah.
That was no excuse for a husband. Right?
Quincy said Brando fucked everything, right? He's like, well, Brando just did everyone.
He said fuck a toaster or fuck an oven or something. Yeah. No, it was a great interview. That was a really great interview. He also said he knew who shot JFK.
Right, that's true. He did say that.
Michael Jackson was a thief.
A thief? He said he was a thief?
Yeah, stole lots of other people's music.
Oh, okay, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Smooth criminal.
Yeah, very good. Very good. That's brilliant. So you did Thievery Corp. And so that's your Melbourne update for the week. That's your cultural activity, because it's very cultural in Melbourne, all about the arts in Melbourne, aren't they, really?
Absolutely, and it was at the Forum, which is beautiful for those who haven't been there. It almost looks like something out of a Zeffirelli production. It's very Romeo and Juliet. There's a balcony. Have you been there?
To the Forum, of course. I've been to the Forum. Yeah. So.
Everyone was in their mid-40s, in there with a couple of friends. No one really was looking to interact with anyone else, but it was a super friendly vibe as well. It was like it was. Or if I had a joint on the dance floor, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Hold on, so that no one was looking to interact with anyone they didn't know, yet it had a super friendly vibe.
Yeah, because everyone was like, it's like their one night out. Like everyone had got the babysitter in. They were like having a great time, but they were also respectful of other people's great times.
What happens if you didn't have any friends and you just went by yourself and you wanted to meet people?
Yeah, I think you'd get politeness and friendliness, but no one would continue on the interaction. You'd be doing the heavy lifting, like you and most interactions. You'd be pushing hard.
That's Melbourne for you. So in Sydney, you'd rock up and you'd be welcomed in, as long as you're, aesthetically relatively pleasing, you'd be welcomed into the conversation. You'd be given a short window and then you'd need to move on, but you'd have a great time. Whereas I find in Melbourne, if people are like, nah, I'm with my mates, nah, not interested, a little bit more of the cold shouldery type thing in a friendly way, not like, get out of here, but it's like just a blank sort of look of disinterest generally a lot of the time in terms of interacting with people that aren't part of one's crew. Luckily, I haven't, via your humongous networks in Melbourne, I haven't had to deal with very much of that, but I think overall that's my impression of one of the differences between the cities.
You're famous in Melbourne at the moment. You've really cultivated a bit of a legend. I've caught up with Old School and all those guys at the Labour in Vain even before the whiskey, and they all send their love.
Old School's quite a notorious friend of Jono's, dear listeners, and he's a teacher, a well-known teacher in Melbourne, and I'm sure you'll be hearing much more about his escapades.
Because he's also the only single person left in the group, so he's putting it out there thick and fast.
He certainly is. He's really putting it out there. Now, on that note, I thought we'd go into a little thing which we've probably been a bit reticent in doing, and it's I'll call it the "Who Am I" section. And you often see
it's a new section,
this little section, a little segment, if you will. Look, it's a one-off, I think, really, but it's really just to refresh or at least inform listeners about who they're actually listening to. But I thought I'd give it a little bit of a twist, a fun twist, Jono. And what I do is it's a bit like a dating program where you have to sort of say what you know about your partner, and then the other partner can find out how close they are. Now, obviously, we're both heterosexual men. We have our ladies at home. I just want to clarify that for everyone. Not that it matters if we're not heterosexual. But the point of the matter is there's two of us here. Basically, Jono, you're going to say what you know about me, and I'm going to say what I know about you for the listener's pleasure, whatever you think is relevant. And look, I'll handball to you to begin laying down the law as to who is Dorje Swallow.
Oh, great. Well, this will be one of my favourite segments because the longer I get to know you, Dorje, and we've known each other, full disclosure, for going on 15 years probably, isn't it?
15, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because we did a Shakespeare tour together about 15 years ago, and we spent 7 months touring Australia. And I see you as a bit of a Don Draper character because you're very, you're open about yourself, but like every couple of years I'll find out something really strange about you that I had no idea that you keep quite private. So what do I know about you is you're fascinating. You're a fascinating creature. And and I'd say I probably know you better than most people. So I think in this podcast, we're going to be peeling back the onion of Dorje Swallow and finding out more about him. Like I only recently just found out that you lived in Portland for a bit. You did quite a bit of traveling as a very young man. You had quite a traumatic experience at a school camp at a young age, which I think we should talk about at some stage. But maybe when people get to know us better,
just more of a resume thing, John. More about we're not looking for a psychoanalytical breakdown. Just parents, degrees, the training, the stuff that really matters. We can go into the therapy stuff
so you
later.
Just want me to pump you up?
I'm just lay down exactly who we are. That's all we do. Just want to know who we are.
That's not who we are. That's not who you are.
That's not who we are. But it's part and parcel. And obviously,
you're more than that, man. You're more than your degrees. It's not going to change who you are. The fact that you have a film degree from Western Australian University.
I'm going to start.
Hang on a second, because I think this is interesting. That's not after a couple of joints at Thievery Corporation. I was
go.
talking to a yoga teacher, and she was talking a bit too much about yoga, but she was saying she's in Power Flow or something like that, and they got her up on stage in front of 100 people, and they said, "Who are you?" And she said, "I'm the daughter of Steve and the sister of this person." They went, "That's not who you are." And she broke down crying. And so she's trying to now that they believe that you're not your experiences, you are your essence, which I don't. They call it your story. But yeah, who are you, Dorje? You studied. You did.
Wait, can I say? I thoroughly agree with that tangent. However, yes. I think via the course of the podcast, all that other stuff about who we are really will come out. This is really just a presentational. Little tick box things to tick off, like what are we, engineers, plumbers, like things like it's just simple things like that. What do we look like, or what are our parents like? Just simple things that we know about each other, and then that can be the door. That can be, if you like, Jono, that can be the image that is ripped apart, segment by segment, episode by episode, until the true person, as you said, is revealed.
So you're 38, turning 39 at the end of the year. Oh no, in July. Is that right? Is your birthday July? August?
I'm going to let you get to the end and I'll tell you what you're right or wrong.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, you're turning 39 in July. You're a Cancer on society. You finished high school at the ripe age of 17, still a virgin, and went and studied arts law at Murdoch University, where you majored in film. You did a bit of modelling. You even wore a G-string on one occasion in a modelling shoot. You finished your degree. You used to wear trench coats, and I think at one stage you had blonde peroxide hair, and you looked quite scary from photos. You then got into NIDA at a very young age, at about 21. You did 3 years at NIDA, so then bang, you've already got 2 degrees. And you go for the Fremantle Dockers, you go for the Portland Trailblazers. You're incredibly passionate about those 2 teams, as you are passionate about Everton, the football club. You're a serial monogamist, but in between girlfriends, you do a lot of work as a notorious pants man around Sydney. You love a good vino and a cheese plate, and you're a fantastic friend.
Very good, very good. Yes, close thereabouts. It was actually 3 degrees because I had the law and the arts degree, and then the NIDA degree. So that was 3 degrees.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You said 2. You said 2.
Okay, well, it's a double.
You cut me off a degree there.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. And you didn't mention the fact that I'm Tibetan, half Tibetan. That's one thing. My father's Tibetan and my mother's Australian. They met in Nepal, and I was born in Melbourne, slightly unusual background-wise. I think I was one of the first Tibetans to be born, or someone of Tibetan blood to be born in Australia. So it's a relatively unusual fact. But yeah, apart from that, bang on. I'll just slip straight into you. Oh, but it's June 21st, by the way. So not July, not Cancer, Gemini. So that's all right, though. Jono Burns, what to say about Jono Burns? I met Jono Burns when we were doing the Bell Shakespeare Actors at Work tour, first year out of drama school. It's where you tour around for a year in a Tarago performing. Jono, at that stage, he had a sort of squiggly hair and looked a bit like a young hippie, but very much in his element, had just come out of, it seemed like, freshly out of drama school. He went, of course, to the Actors Studio in America, where he was on full scholarship. Prior to that, he went to Melbourne Uni, which is one of the top universities, as he keeps telling me, in the world. He did quite well there. Well, he went to the wrong classes quite a few times, but made many friends by doing so. Prior to that, he was a Melbourne grammar boy. I like this, I'm going backwards. Prior to that, he was a Melbourne grammar boy. He famously had still has a lovely sister called Beck Burns, who's is a osteopath. Yes, I'm pretty sure she's an osteopath. His father, Creighton Burns, was the editor of The Age for a very long time. I have got his biography at home, but I'm going to go locking around 25 years as the editor of The Age, but I could be off on that one. Jono himself is a Taurian, notoriously stubborn, hence the belligerent Burns moniker, which he wears with pride. And that could be from the Scottish side, because there's a picture, a Creighton Burns picture, a picture of Creighton Burns in his old apartment, which no longer exists, which Jono let me stay in once. On that picture, Creighton is saying, if that's going to be your attitude, I'll walk home. And he's walking home in his kilt. And so it seems like it's very much a genetic thing, and hence this It's an Outrage section being perfectly pitched. In terms of Jono, they're the sort of the boxes tick. Oh, I should say his mother is Israeli. No, she's not. His mother is Jewish, and so he has a strong Jewish tangent as well that he's inherited and very proud of, and that goes right back to throughout his family bloodlines, and he's just recently reconnected with many of them. Well, not recently. He's connected with them over the course of his life. And Jono has a lovely partner. In terms of the opposite sex, Jono has had many peaks and troughs. The troughs have been well documented. He loves sharing the troughs. He's not so big on sharing the peaks, which is very admirable of him, because he wouldn't want to put everyone off dating and feel like they were inferior to him. So it's a very sweet gesture on his behalf. But yes, overall, big fan of the Bombers, the Essendon Football Club, big fan of switching sides to a better side in any sport, as long as they're doing well. That's his major criteria. He likes watching high-quality sport, he always says. So, for example, the New York Knicks, who have long been his club, have been jettisoned, it seems like, at the current time, because, of course, the Golden State Warriors are much better. So, yeah, he's known for doing that, but he's a very fond admirer of high-quality sport. And I suppose in that way, one has to at least doff their cap to his appreciation for things performed to their utmost. And that, even in terms of utmost performance, one shouldn't forget that he won the History Award when he was at Melbourne Grammar, because he hasn't forgotten. He reminds everyone consistently as well. So, lots of things to admire. A very fun man. He went to Gouttiere, famously went to the Gouttiere to study clowning. That's one thing we shouldn't forget. So he's really gone out there and searched and tried to add to his cultural palette, add to his resume. But as he's pointed out to everyone, that's just one part of him. He's also very fond of the musical festival experience. Has done many Eclipse festivals, has famously done quite a few Burning Man festivals. he's certainly added as much as one can, or you might say sampled as much as one can from life, it seems, and squeezed a lot of experiences. He's gone to the Antarctic. He's done things that you would never even think were possible in such a short period of time in his life, yet he has done it, and he will do much more. And that's one of the great things about Jono Burns.
Wow, that was lovely, mate.
Thanks.
You had time to research a little bit.
No, I didn't.
But,
I didn't read.
Oh, it's off the top of your head.
Yeah, it's off the top of my head.
Because you famously said in the last podcast that you don't like to research. It's better just to do it. I just feel it's better if you just do it. Yeah, Dad was only editor for 10 years. But that was a long time.
Still a long time.
You were killing it there, man. And it was the Classics Prize.
Oh, shit. What did I say?
History. Well, it's just a form of history, but it's Greek history.
It's Greek history, yeah. Damn.
Just
I knew it was the Classics. I knew it was the Classics Prize too.
That's okay. That's okay.
No, I've messed it up. Really well. No, we should just stop the podcast. No, it's a complete waste of time now. I look like an idiot in front of everyone. Anyway, well, that's good. I'm glad. I think we've ticked all the boxes there. That's a good sort of forerunner. I think that should give some people a taste of what to expect. And the great thing is that might you could say, Jono, in your words, it's a bit of a Jubu tangent, if you will, with the Tibetan Buddhist and the Jewish. Not that I can barely claim to be a Buddhist, and I'm not sure how you feel about claiming to be a practicing Jew.
I think we're both terrible. We're both terrible. Bad. I'm definitely a bad Jew.
And I'm a very bad Buddhist. Yeah.
Is it a very bad Buddhist?
I'm a very bad Buddhist.
Yeah, you're a bad Buddhist. But you've got some of the core elements. You're very generous, and you attachment. You don't have big attachment issues.
No, but I've never used it to get my leg over. Can I just say that? I've never used
that. Is absolute rubbish.
I've never used it to get my leg over, ever. I haven't.
Oh, my goodness. This is the biggest lie I've ever heard.
You've gone into the hippie market much more than I have. You used to go to Conk Fest or whatever, Conga Fest, where you're all bang drunk and wearing no clothes or whatever.
To get laid?
No, well, you were just dancing around in your fisherman's pants and stuff and your singlets with your tie-dye. And I'm just saying it's not a market that I've mined where I could have mined it with, a great degree of probably success, if I chose to.
I've heard you just come up with the most ridiculous things to get laid. I find it's just impossible to believe that you haven't dropped in you were Tibetan to get laid. Because
have you seen me do it?
I can't, that's my problem. I can't recall an exact incident, but I've heard some absolute dribble come out of your mouth in order to get laid.
Think about what crowds I've gone for. I've gone for preppy private schools. That doesn't register on their radar. Quite the opposite. You look like an idiot. So
you pretended to be Jewish to get laid.
Yes, I have done that. Yes,
but then you felt guilty and you didn't go ahead with it.
Well, it wasn't. I felt guilty. It's because I didn't. Well, I'm not circumcised.
She was a virgin, wasn't she?
She was.
Yeah, but she was a virgin, and she said, "I want my first person to be Jewish." And you're like, "I'm Jewish." And then you realize. So yeah, that's the thing. You didn't even do it because you didn't want to be a bad guy. You just knew you'd get caught with your helmet.
Yeah, and also she was very well connected in Bondi, and I just thought if it went pear-shaped, it would be. I just imagine being run out of town in every Sababa, all my favorite Savion, all my favorite spots in Bondi. So there was serious.
If she was hot enough, would have you considered circumcision?
She was very attractive, but I also felt a bit guilty. But it was. I think it wasn't a good scenario, and it was also because she gave me numerous chances to tell the truth. She said, this is if you're not Jewish, please, because you don't look very Jewish, please do tell me now. Because and I went, no, I am. Yeah, no, definitely. Just found out through a strange family.
Well, then you could have said if you've just found out, you don't need to be circumcised. So I think. You could have done it, and I think you didn't do it because you're a good guy. Because you have the Buddhist actual fundamentals inherent in you.
Yeah, I like to think so. Well, let's now we've gone through that and I've shared that lovely tidbit with the audience. Should we move on to?
That's an ongoing. I think that's an ongoing thing. Is like
what is
us being so bad at our actual religion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. We're terrible. Really shocking.
Really bad. Like for instance, I'm not going to Pesa. In 2 weeks, like I've said no to go to Pesa because being back in Melbourne, I'm around all my Jewish family, and there's regular Friday night dinners on, but I just don't go.
I should just clarify, she was overage. It wasn't an underage. There was no problems with the age bracket.
Oh, that's good, mate.
Yeah, I just want to make that very clear to the audience.
Why would you have to clarify that? Because she's a virgin.
Yeah, and I was quite young at the time too. I wasn't, some creepy old creep. I was like, 20, 25 or 26 or something like that. Yeah, so it wasn't completely lecherous. So moving on to our next section.
Segment of shit Dorje said to get laid. I lived above the balcony, and I used to try and sleep while you were just talking people into submission. Just absolute drivel.
I just don't think people aren't interested in that sort of stuff. It was a lot. It was a lot of name dropping, no doubt. I'll freely admit.
Tame Impala, Matt O'Kine. That's why I don't believe it. You wouldn't say.
I never used Matt O'Kine. I never used Matt O'Kine to get my leg over. That's never happened.
You once told me you slept with 10 people by promising to have meet Matt O'Kine. He's just here. He's just here, and they're like, "This is your bedroom." Like, no, he's just coming. Just take your pants off.
That never happened. And it's a little bit offensive to many people. Jono and Dorje, full disclosure in the raw. And this week, in episode 3, it's time for It's an Outrage.
Shh. If you want to talk in a movie,
this is taking too long.
This is taking too long.
No.
This is a terrible manners. Terrible
That's not
manners.
funny.
That's not
funny.
them bad.
It's belligerent Burns with It's an Outrage.
Hey, Dorje.
Yeah?
I hate the smell of piss in the morning. Yeah?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, this is the smell that first smacks me in the face, that first singes my nostrils when I open our front door that faces the bin-platted lane on Lygon Street in Carlton. Now, Honeybabe and I knew that when we were moving in above a bike store that there would be some bins and things like that. But piss, Dorje, nay, human piss, every day as I open the door and then as I walk back and walk back in, I have to hold my breath to avoid this smell. And it drives me. It's driving me to distraction. And the other day, I actually noticed because there's an indentation in the front step, like a little indentation, and it was filled with liquid. And we're in a drought, Dorje. We're in a fucking drought. Dry as a bone in Melbourne. Yet I've got this little watery thing on my fucking thing, and I just can't stand people that piss on concrete. So every day, I hold my breath out. When I'm walking back in, I've got to walk by these guys on the hawkers on Lygon Street. As I walk by, there's Italian restaurants ever, and there's these two men, one tall, one little, always with their same spiel: pasta, free entree, pasta, free entree. I see them every day. They look like heavies, where maybe 10 years ago that would be murderously scary, but they're now in their 70s. One's got a moustache and he's got a bowler's hat and he wears a vest, and the littler one, the meaner one, pasta, free entree. And then when you walk by them, when they think you're out of earshot, they give you a send-off. Pasta, free entree, no, fuck off, go fuck yourself. And I've noticed that these guys, they even do it, they tailor their send-offs to different people. So an Asian person walked by the other day and they're like, pasta, free entree, no, ching chong ching, fuck you, Chinaman. They're rude, really rude little bastards. I walk up to them and I say, look, guys, you realize I walk by here every day. You don't have to tell me. And now they just shoot me death stares. So anyway, I'm walking back home the other day. I hold my breath. I walk in, and then I walk out again because I've left my helmet upstairs. And so I walk back in again. And as I walk out, I see the little guy from the corner. He's pissing in the alleyway. He's pissing right next to one of the bins. And I know who it is now. I know who the guy is, but I don't know what to do because, these are nasty little bastards, these guys. So I'm fucking furious though. So I'm pacing around going, should I tell this guy off? And instead I go in to see the bike guy who we live above, Bryn, and I go, mate, that little guy from the thing, he's pissing in the lane. He's like, yeah, he's there every day, Jono. He pusses there every day. He's a regular pusser. And apparently this guy, after his job, working as a hawker every week, he double parks his car outside the bike shop and then pisses either on our door or on the laneway. And so I don't know what to do. It really pisses me off. I've always hated it. I remember being with a mate in North Melbourne when he pissed on the concrete and telling him off. I have very heightened sense of smell, and this guy's like marking his territory on my door like a fucking dork, like a dork. So that's my belligerent Burns rant of the week.
Appreciate it. Very much a return to form from no form. So brilliant to see if you give it a good nudge. And I don't think anyone really enjoys the smell of urine, especially in the morning. Bobby Duvall, like napalm. But yeah, it is like napalm. And
it's disgusting, mate. It's disgusting. And I didn't yell. I wanted to yell, but maybe I'll yell next week.
I think if you know from Acting 101, you're not trying to you don't say act angry or yell. It's about, finding what it is that really gets your goat. And
well, now I see him all the time. I see him there, he doesn't say pass the pasta to me because he knows, he doesn't know that I'm onto him, but he knows that I don't want any pasta from that place. There's no way I'm going to fucking eat at that place.
Did you say you set up a camera there before? Have you set up a camera?
No, but that's an idea. Yeah, that's an idea to catch him. Like I'd like to actually, like a dog, get him by the back of the head and put his nose in it.
Yeah. You can't do that though, can you? You can't do that. So.
Who are these guys though? Who are they? Why are they got a job? Like they're not helping business. I think this guy's inherited them.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never been a fan of the hawker phenomenon. It just makes you want to walk past. Although I must say they have got me in with the offer of free wine before when I've walked past the Ligons. Yeah, that's the only time. If they say, pasta, free bottle of wine, I'm like, well, maybe it's worthwhile. But that was pre the TripAdvisor movement where one would now look through reviews and choose from there as opposed to getting roped in by the offer of something like a free bottle of wine.
The ones with the good reviews don't give away the wine.
Yes, which leads us to good reviews, leads us to my next segment today, which is in the news. What's going on in the news? What's taken our fancy in the world at present? And I believe, Jono, you'd like to say a little bit about the David Warner sledging phenomenon.
Right, it's really heated up and it's happening in real time. The Warner stuff. I've got a few quotes for you, but basically, if you're just catching up, guys, David Warner. He's got form as a sledger himself, but it became almost world news, definitely world cricket news.
Yeah.
When David Warner was walking with all the other players inside, like on the ramp, and he actually decided to take it somewhere physical with the wicket keeper of South Africa. There's a funny name, De Kock. De Kock,
yes. What's funny about that?
Sounds like
nothing funny about that.
De Kock, I don't know. Yeah, and so apparently he was saying something about Warner's wife. Warner says, and Warner said about that, he said, "I would have just liked him to say the comment a little louder, instead of muttering under his breath to me and to Tim Payne, then walking up the stairs and saying I didn't say anything as soon as soon as the rest of his teammates came out. We're all men, and if you're going to say something, look someone in the eye and say it. I can't see anyone else making comments the way he made them, which are outright disgusting. It's a thing you wouldn't say about any lady, especially someone's wife. When it comes to family or racism comments or anything like that, it's just a no-go zone." Okay, so that's basically what he said. And so we found out the background on what they were probably saying because the crowd have actually got involved as well. It happens that David Warner has a very beautiful wife who's a triathlete. And she had
Candice Falzon?
Yes. And she had a one-off incident in a toilet with Sonny Bill Williams.
Look, it was a one-off incident. But Candice certainly dated quite a few sports stars. She was with
careful, Dorje. Careful here, mate. What are you?
Well, I think it was
allowed to date whoever she wants.
I think it's completely fine to do so. I've got no problems with that. But what I believe the nature of the actual sledge was not just about Sonny Bill Williams, but about the fact Dave Warner was far from the first man in line, so to speak, as her choice of paramour, if you will.
She's like into all sports. She was dating a couple of rugby league guys. She dated Staker from the West Coast Eagles.
I didn't know that, did she?
Yeah. Do you know what she dated? She dated the guy from Little Britain, not an athlete.
Did she? She was with David.
Yeah, and she dated.
Yes, he was. And it was Matt Hanjack was the one I was thinking. He was actually rugby union. So actually she's quite... She's actually...
Codes, yeah. And because she's a triathlete. She does all the sports herself.
Yes.
So I guess you'd call her a triathlete of sex, but even more because she also went to tennis.
What?
And she was with one of the pod's favourite tennis players. Do you know who it was?
Who was it? Who's she with?
Who's your daddy? Who's your
Wally
bag daddy?
No, Baghdadis. She was with Baghdadis?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
He's pretty cool. Yeah, he's the coolest of the lot by He's a lot cooler than the other guys. That
So cool to be back there. He's super famous in Melbourne because he's had his best results here by a mile. I think, did he make a final?
Yeah, Cypriot, the Cypriot wonder. Yes, he's
Yeah, he made a final. And he's one of those guys, he's a bit of a curios in the sense that you feel that he's not always trying.
Yeah, you do. Well, it certainly seems to rev it up a little bit more when there's a crowd behind him. He really responds to the crowd.
And there's a huge Greek population in Melbourne, and so as a result, there's not that Cyprus is Greece, but they're
yes, we shouldn't make that mistake because he was pro the Cyprus independent movement, I believe it was.
Big time. And he got me offside when he was saying some anti-Semitic things. He was caught saying some anti-Semitic things, but he loves a good feed because basically every souvlaki place you go to in Melbourne, there's a photo of Baghdadis enjoying some lamb in bread. He's a big fan, and so he seems like he was out eating every time. Who isn't?
I love that. Who loves it? I mean, apart from vegans and vegetarians and pescatarians, but who doesn't like lamb and a lamb gyros? I mean, please, it's just fantastic.
It's too much meat.
You just couldn't go easy on it, I suppose. But the thing with the Dave Warner thing, and Candace aside, she can date whoever she wants and she can see whoever she wants. And in terms of the sledging itself, at poker, I play poker as dear listeners, as we've explained before. There was a big thing. You don't go into
every Monday
night. You don't sledge family, but I think the Australians are the ones that came up, wrote the book on sledging of family.
We're going to get into this. We'll get into it because it's absolute bullshit. I mean, it happens all the time.
And I think Warner would be one of the major exponents. I mean, he's a renowned sledger, so I just found it. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's what everyone. It's rife. It's good. It's any grey area is fun to talk about.
Yeah.
So that's what he said. But what he's saying smacks very much of the woman is. Your woman is your property kind of thing. Like he's
very much so. Well, he's I've got not a lot of time for and there was a talk last night about the fact that the Chappelli reign was the start of the sledging, what it's led to now. That he was under his reign, it was when it really started coming out. But then they've actually pointed even way back to Bradman in terms of the body line, in terms of going in and really going mercilessly in for your opposition. Pummeling every point of weakness.
Well, that was shocking, and people didn't like that. And it's that thing about what's sport for? Is it just about winning, Dorje, or is it about playing the beautiful game? I mean, like it's just like if you're going to win that ugly, like with body line, it's not a coincidence they haven't done it again because it's just like it takes all the joy out of sport.
Yes.
So yeah, that's. I think there's something in that. There's so much I'd like to talk about on the Warner issue. We can do little tangents away. Tim Lane, who's already got 2 mentions in this podcast because he not only wrote a lot on concussion, he also just wrote about Philip Hughes's death. And because the inquest just came out about it, and sledging was part of the inquest because, unfortunately, Doug Bollinger yelled at him, "We're going to kill you." So you can imagine how bad Bollinger felt after what happened.
Mm.
So they were kind of inferring, and so that's come up in a few articles because other people have said, like, sledging's fine. And on another tangent off that thing, the guy that killed Phil Hughes. Just hit somebody else in a shield match. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
It was awful footage because it was a Victoria-New South Wales game, and he bounced him, hit him in the head, kind of like stared down a bit, walked towards him, and then he was the one that caught the guy as he kind of fell over and he got done with concussion protocol. But can you imagine how fucking scared they'd be on the field when? I don't think if he's on a hat trick, I think he's done. I don't think he'd ever bowl again, would he? If he killed somebody else.
No, I mean, I can remember the Sheffield Shield days. I think we've spoken about this before. But there was a guy called Carl Rackerman for Queensland who was famous for his short pitch bowling, and he had this action, this sort of corkscrew action, which would pitch it sort of halfway down the pitch and would just rocket up towards your face, and that was his go-to. And then, surprise, surprise, I remember Mike Valletta playing for Western Australia getting hit in the face, and then just running like a chicken with its head cut off. I'm sorry to use that analogy, but with his face in his hands with blood everywhere, and it's just it's. I wish I could. Because it's awful.
Sorry,
I wish I could say it's surprising, but it's not. I mean, it's about as surprising as gun law control in America, and then what happens in the schools. If there's going to be short pitch bowling unregulated, which thankfully they're doing more and more of it, and you're going to use it to intimidate batsmen, then unfortunately people are going to get hurt.
Yeah, but it's also about this thing about the sledging stuff, because it's not like sledging in football or soccer or any of those sports, because there literally is a massive power dynamic, because it's
the 11,
and Smith
11 guys.
You got your mate there, but you're right, 11 on 1, and they're all around him. And Smith, the current captain, he I think he's going to get, if he's swayed, it's going to be public pressure, because he says he's all about aggressiveness, and he even calls it hunting as a pack. That's what they do. So it's like he's describing bullying basically, but in real time. So the South Africans started, the crowd, a bunch of them started wearing Sonny Bill Williams masks, and a couple of officials got caught photographed with them. So it looks pretty bad.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't hear? Oh yeah, it's real time, and. And now Rabada, the pace bowler for them, he's got heaps.
Very good pace bowler.
Very good, very good. He just got suspended for 2 matches because he
gave Smith a nudge, didn't he?
It's so innocuous, but Smith actually takes even a little while to turn around. But I guess they don't want to turn. It's not a physical game; it's a mental game. And he also gave someone a send off.
And of genteel origins, let's not forget that. That's what some of the talk was at poker last night. The great sports, what we love to see is the honor behind the sports. It's a mental struggle, as you said. It's not supposed to be big buffheads barging into each other and saying, "I slept with your girlfriend," or your wife's a so and so. But I mean, Doc, who's one of the poker players last night, said, "Well, I play cricket with so and so," and we said, "Yeah, you're pretty fat," and everyone laughed, and that was it. And I was like, "Yeah, but that's not really going to put someone off their game." And so if you look at it, as you said, about trying to put someone off their game, saying you've got a big bottom or whatever, and then giggling with your mates probably isn't going to do it. So you can see why that they start reaching towards the bottom drawer, if you will, for some really offensive stuff. And I believe you have a list of a couple of the absolute pearlers to share with our beloved listeners.
Mate.
Hit me with a refresh my memory. Glenn McGrath seems to pop up quite a lot.
Yeah, he'll be in there. He'll definitely be in there. Okay, so
give us a couple of your favourites.
Well, I've got quite a few here, Dorje. So we'll start off with Merv Hughes. We all remember Merv Hughes.
Yes.
So Javed Miendad said, "Hey Merv, you look like a fat bus conductor." And then Merv got him out with the next ball and started yelling out, "Tickets, please! Tickets, please!" So that's Merv at his best, because we'll get to Merv a bit later when he's not as good. Then we got. I just want to take a segue to like the actual psychological cutting, not funny one, and I think that was introduced with Steve Waugh, with Border, and then Steve Waugh. He famously said to Herschel Gibbs, "How does it feel to drop the World Cup?" when Gibbs dropped him, and then he was right. So it's just a bit cunty, really. And then another one he did was in a Sheffield Shield match. He was trying to get, what's it called when you get centre with the middle stump? He was
you're guard, finding a guard.
He's doing that for way too long. And Jamie Siddons was in second slip, and he goes, "Jesus Christ, mate, it's not a test match." And he turned around and he goes, "Yeah, you're right, because you're here." Cunty.
Very good.
Yeah.
Jamie Siddons was well known for, unfortunately, never really cracked. One of the great Shield players and never played hardly any Test cricket. Did he get a test? Did he get a cap?
I think he did. Yeah, I think he did. But yeah, he's had the record, I think, for most runs before. I think Buff's got a lot of runs as well, as did Mark Waugh.
Buff Lehman, famously.
Rod Marsh to both. And what I like about this, it's pretty much from here on, it's pretty much just people getting the bully. Like that's the thing. We like a power imbalance. We don't like people going down. We like people going up. So Rod Marsh to both of them. Oh, this is a strange one, Dorje. He goes, "So how's your wife and my kids?" See what he's done there to both of them. And then both of them goes, "Wife's fine. Kids are retarded."
Yeah. See, that's very non-PC, that one. But you can see how at the time it would have been laugh out loud hilarious. But we don't use terms like retarded anymore.
What does he actually mean? Rod Marsh has got bad sperm.
Yeah, I guess the implication is that Rod Marsh doesn't pass on the best genes when it comes to physically and mentally.
We have Merv Hughes. I like to call him Diplomat Merv. Okay. After every delivery, Merv, when he was playing the West Indies, would stare down the wicket and give Sir Viv Richards the hairy eyeball. And Viv Richards returns to him and says, "Don't be staring at me, man. This is my island, my culture. We just bowl." And then Merv replies, "In my culture, we just say fuck off." No script writer would come up with that dialogue.
No, I thought
Just
my favourite one is the McGrath to Edo brand.
But hang on, I'm getting that.
Yeah,
getting
it's the best one by far.
Yeah. But then Merv the Charmer. This is another story about him. He gets hit for 4 consecutive boundaries by Viv Richards, and then he walks down halfway down the pitch. Merv does, and farts loudly, and he says, "Let me see you hit that to the fucking boundary." Just disgusting.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I thought I was waiting for the punchline. It was a fart joke.
I think
these are the great sledges of all time, and you're giving me fart jokes.
Tickets, please, is as good as Merv gets. Like apart from that, he's just
Look, the fart one will be lucky to make the cut. I can tell you that straight away, mate.
Yeah, no, very true. Maybe we can get our listeners to vote in. Okay, they get better here. Now this is when Mark Waugh starts getting a little bit of curry. He goes, he sees Adam Perore, the Kiwi wicketkeeper. He goes, "I remember you from a couple of years ago. You were shit then, and you're fucking useless now." To which Perore replies, "Yeah, that's me. And I remember you were dating that old ugly slut. I've seen you married her now, you dumb cunt."
This is getting rather.
Doesn't exactly go high.
This is going rather.
That's a good one, right?
Getting rather X-rated this episode. A lot of C-bombs on this one, mate.
Well, I felt safe doing the C-bomb because I knew that there was going to be one later. Yeah.
Okay. Perore, potty mouth Perore.
Yeah, I really like that he starts it with, "Yeah, that's me." When you go, "Yeah, that's me," you've got a little bit of ammo in the gun. So Mark Waugh, the eloquent Mark Waugh again, he goes, "James Orman came out to bat from England," and he goes, "What are you doing out here? You're too shit to bat for England." And then Orman says, "Maybe so, but at least I'm the best player in my family."
Good. Yeah, I like the delivery on that one. That's no wonder it was a real zinger. It was, maybe so. Maybe so. I might have a cup of tea while I'm here and Roger my bottom with my fist. Yeah, it really worked well.
Oh, there you go. Okay. And then Darren Cullinan, remember him? Darryl Cullinan? He was known as Warne's bunny. And so
Warnie's
he
buddy.
Out. Yeah. Yep. And Warnie goes, "I've been waiting 2 years for another chance at you." And Cullinan goes, "Looks like you've spent it eating." And then Perore goes, "You fat cunt." He just runs out easily. Now we move on.
Why did you turn Cullinan? He's in Lethal Weapon 2. It sounded like it became like
you spent it eating. Diplomatic immunity.
It sounds like he's suddenly a villain. Yeah. Don't know what happened there. Mission Impossible.
Looks like you've spent it eating.
Yeah.
How would you do it? All right, so I'll be Warren, you be Cullinan, okay? "I've been waiting 2 years for another chance at you."
Looks like you've spent it eating.
Okay, too much of a pause at the beginning, but very good, very good. Okay, now we move on to Glenn McGrath, who you and I both, full disclosure, we're not the biggest fans of, but, I'm sure that'll come through.
Hold the phone before I 100% agree, but shit, damn, it's 100%. I completely agree.
100%.
But what I will, I said 100% agree, I didn't say 100%. Completely agree, but I will say we do have to, recognise the wonderful things he's done for the cancer movement and the pink ribbon, etc. Before we mercilessly point out what an absolute dickhead we've always thought he was. Yeah.
And he shoots elephants.
Yeah, he's just an alpha. We're not big fans of bludgeoning alphas it seems like not a lot of brain cells going on.
Big problem with people that shoot elephants.
And he's a bully. He's a bully. Shooting elephants. He's a bully. He played like a bully.
That's shooting up, though. Shooting an elephant.
It is shooting up. You're right. Yeah, technically it's shooting up because they're bigger than you. Although McGrath, 6'7", 6'8", baby elephant. He probably shoots baby elephants. That's how much of a bully. He probably puts on the baby.
So you really revealed yourself. So why even say you
probably
just
puts on the baby elephant walk, and he's bang, just like shooting like baby elephant. Bang,
it's like Dumbo, and just with an air rifle, just like fucking.
He's turning into Ray Fiennes in Schindler's List. He's like, it's like little baby elephants running around with this black song on loop. Anyway, go on. Give us your best.
So he's bowling to West Indian Sarwan. Remember Sarwan? He was a captain.
I do. Very risky. Liked him.
He goes, "Hey," he goes, "Oi, Sarwan, what does Brian Lara's cock taste like?" He goes, "Why don't you ask your wife?" And he goes, "If you mention my fucking wife again, I'll fucking rip your fucking throat out." Okay. Triggered much. You give it out.
Okay.
That's the thing. There's a bit of that. There's a bit of the Warner stuff there. Like you just feel if Warner was having a go at somebody else, because it says that Warner was apparently having a go at his sister, at De Kock's sister.
Yeah, for hours, apparently. For hours. They said he was ripping. And this is the thing. This is what you find with bullies. This is what I find hilarious. Well, not hilarious, but telling about bullies is they'll rip you with really pathetic sledges. And then when you nail a zinger on them, that's when they go into full bludgeoning mode.
They don't like it. They don't
like it, sir.
that.
Up 'em. They don't like it, sir. Up 'em.
No, that cold steel, do they?
No. Do you have another McGrath? Or
yeah.
You got
Yeah, of course. No, we're building up. So Glenn McGrath, to little-known Zimbabwean batsman Edo Brandes. He says,
not related to George Brandes, of course, either.
And Marlon Brando was fat as well, so it kind of makes sense. He goes, why are you so fat? And he goes, because every time I fuck your wife, she gives me a biscuit. And then he goes, you fucking did say something about my fucking wife. I'll fucking rip your fucking throat out. Fucking. Yeah,
I mean, it's true. He does that, but we should all...
Pretty much that's what happens. Is he calls someone fat or shit, and then they say, I fucked your wife. And we should full disclosure.
Yes.
His wife did die.
Of cancer. And she was ill, I think, during some of those return sledges. So
does that mean you've got immunity, diplomatic immunity? You can say anything.
That's a really good question.
And they're not allowed. Yeah.
I mean,
but did they know that his wife was sick?
It's really good. I think you do have to be sensitive in some ways. I give a lot
you shouldn't. Yeah, if you know, you shouldn't give someone shit about their wife who's dying of cancer. Absolutely not. But
yes, I hope Candace Felson's
I don't think you should just put up with everything that they say to you.
No.
Why are you so fat? I just love that because apparently Harold from Neighbours used that one as well on the Neighbours tour because we get Neighbours people into Starlight when I work and apparently like always English guys go, hey Harold, why are you so fat? And he goes, oh, because every time I fuck your mum, he says mum, she gives me a biscuit.
Good. Yes.
And I just think the word biscuit is funny. That's why I like Jimmy Kimmel having a Seabiscuit reference. I just think there's not many funnier words than biscuit.
Yes, it's a funny word. It is a funny word. Brilliant. All right, well, thanks for that wrap up on the sledging. Now, we're running a bit short on time, so I'm going to have to skip forward.
No, should we have a look? Should we have a quick look at sledging and other? I think this should just be the sledging episode. I'll just quickly run through, and these aren't funny sledges. In the NBA, the godfather of sledging is Kevin Garnett, number 21. Was a legendary Timberwolf and then Celtic. And apparently Tim Duncan, who's one of the greats of all time, who lost his mother to breast cancer at 14, he whispered in his ear, "Happy Mother's Day, motherfucker," into Tim Duncan's ear. And he also told Carmelo Anthony that his wife tastes...
How is that a sledge, exactly, the Mother's Day thing?
His mum's dead. And he goes, "Happy Mother's Day, motherfucker." Why would you say it? To someone whose mum's dead.
So it's basically a sociopath. Like, that's just psychotic.
Yeah, absolutely. Unless he just liked... unless he thought Tim was a mum or something. Like, unless he thought Tim was like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jr. and was able to give birth and like had his own children and was a mum. He said to Carmelo Anthony, he goes, "Your wife tastes like Honey Nut Cheerios." And apparently Carmelo Anthony, that's a psycho one as well because it doesn't mean anything. And apparently Carmelo Anthony...
Honey Nut Cheerios are pretty tasty though, aren't they?
Yeah, so he's saying...
That's what he meant.
He's saying he's eating his wife. She tastes good.
So it's a compliment, though. At least he's saying a nice thing. He didn't say that she tastes like, off salmon or something. He said she tastes like...
No, but he's pretending he's slept with a guy's wife or at least eaten her.
We're pretending he carried out cunnilingus on the player's wife. Yeah.
So he wasn't listening to your dentists and Michael Douglas warning against the danger of eating.
That's right. No.
What is it called? HPV.
Well, maybe Carmelo could have returned with an HPV reference then as a zinger.
Hope you get HPV. Yeah, serial fucker. Serial killer. Des Headland. You'd remember this one because he played for your beloved Women on Dockers. Dockers. Can you talk us through that one?
Well, I didn't think it was a great one. It was basically he had a tattoo of his daughter Madison on his arm, and Adam.
Giving away the punchline. Yep.
Yes, Adam Selwood.
Literally the punchline.
Adam Selwood, who was a trier, what I call a really quality try-hard. And again...
not even the second best player in his family.
Not even the second best player in his family. Scooter, I'd say Scooter Selwood is second best player. Adam Selwood, tagger, so, definition of a try-hard, said, what did you say? I fucked her. I said, go on your arm,
she's fucking hot. No, she's fucking hot, or something like that. Or maybe I'd fuck her. And it was his 4-year-old daughter. Because it just says Madison. It wasn't a picture, was it?
No. It was what happened. Adam Selwood said, "Who's that on your arm? She's fucking hot." And he goes, "Yeah, that's my daughter." And he goes, "Yeah, I fucked her." And that's fucking hell.
He said, "I'm not having that." Did he headbutt him or did he punch him?
He punched him. Yeah, and then he got off on provocation. Actually, it's pretty.
It wouldn't happen anymore. I think now you've got to control, keep your emotions in check. Like I don't think they're letting Warner off lightly. And then the last one, unfortunately, is the coach of Essendon, Woosha, John Worsfold, has had 2 shockers. He Ray Jenkins, I think, father committed suicide, and he did a hanging gesture to him, and and the other one was Mick McGuan. Remember, he dropped that chest mark in the final.
Yes.
I think he ran up and said something about him to Darren Mullane. So, and that was after the siren. Like that's the worst. When it's not even, it's all bad, but that just shows how kind of psycho he was. That is like they'd won the game, but he wanted to rub it in and taunt him after he'd dropped a mark to lose the game.
Yeah, full disclosure, guys. Mick McGuan played for the Collingwood Football Club, and Darren Mullane tragically died in a car accident prior to the match, about a year or two prior from memory. So it was relatively fresh wounds and completely unnecessary from Worsfold. But, you know, the smiling assassin, the chemist, famously he was known as suffering from white line fever. They said that off the field he was a wonderful, a lovely guy. On the field he was basically Hitler. He turned into one of the nastiest pieces.
He was a chemist, wasn't he? It was when they still had jobs. He worked as a pharmacist.
Yeah, and when they said white line fever, when they said that about Worsfold, they weren't talking about white lines off the field. That was later with West Coast, the Cousins and Gardner era, where white line fever took on a completely different meaning, which had nothing to do with crossing the white line on the field. It had more to do with other things. And I'm sure, dear listeners, you can put that together for yourself.
Jono and Dorje. Full disclosure. No holds barred. No holds barred.
There's some great stuff on there. It's great stuff, and a real, I think, a real education in Australian culture to a large extent in terms of the way the Sledges compared to something like the Garnets, which I thought were pretty average, to be honest with you. Whereas the Australian ones are distinctly average, but also really bottom gutter level in a lot of ways.
It's usually just Mark Ward just going, "Hey, you're fucking shit, aren't you? You're fucking shit." That's apparently what Hayden was like too. Just swear words the whole time, and then he'd cross himself.
Yes. Oh, before I move on, in terms of Sledges, a couple of jokes from last night's poker I've got to share just quickly. I think you're a big fan of the poker update. First one, where do you weigh whales?
Where do you weigh whales, Dorje?
At the whaleway station. And then Doc came in. You can't
actually say that. You can't actually tell that joke anymore.
And then Doc came in with, where do you weigh pies?
Where?
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. Way up high.
Did he make that up, do you think? Or did he have that ready?
They all sang it in unison, staring at me when he went for it. They've known it very well.
Were you very stoned? At that point?
No, we don't. No, just food and coffee. And then Tim,
were you stonk-eyed?
And then Tim Burns came in with this beauty. What was the jolly swag man's name?
What?
What do you reckon? See if you can figure it out.
No, I don't. I'm not here to solve jokes. That's not how jokes work. I hate people.
That's what he did. That's what he did. He asked us to try and figure it out. So just for non-Australians,
ask me the question again.
The Jolly Swagman's from Waltzing Matilda. It's a character in the song. Yeah. Hey, what was the Jolly Swagman's name? Do you reckon?
Jolly.
No.
Swag.
No.
Waltzing Matilda. Along came a Jolly Swag. No, fuck this. I didn't come here to think. I came here to shoot the shit with my mate.
Andy.
What?
Andy sang, Andy watched. He sang Andy.
Did you come up with it?
What's that?
Did you come up with it?
No. No one could figure it out.
I hate shit like that.
It was pretty
Tim
good.
Burns. See, that was him taking control of the table.
Yeah, Tim Burns, a very good friend of ours, Jono's cousin, actor as well.
Full disclosure. Johnny the Boy from Mad Max.
I wasn't going to mention it, but yeah, I think it's good that you did. Johnny the Boy from Mad Max, Monkey Puzzle. Yeah, I said Johnny the Boy. What do you think I said?
Used to go out with Noni Hazelhurst.
Yeah, used to famously date Noni Hazelhurst, and a very funny man. So moving on to, speaking of funny men, I'm going to go into a very dramatic piece now because I had the comedy last week, apparently, even though that was non-intentional. So we're going to try and follow that up with something far more serious. The concept with this one is, again, like last week, it's very autobiographical.
I don't think it's going to be serious. I think you're tricking us here. I think it's going to be pretty bawdy and silly.
It's going to be very autobiographical. At the end of each episode now, I thought we'd finish with a full disclosure. We tell an embarrassing story about ourselves, and this particular radio drama piece will lead on to me talking about my full disclosure for the week.
The Courtesans. Episode N.
Oliver.
Yes, Caspian?
Oliver, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Caspian. I can hear you very well.
Well, it's a bit hard, but I need to talk to you about something.
Well, what is it?
Should we go outside? Should we leave the chamber orchestra?
Yes, I think we should. If we must.
Yes, because it's quite hard talking over them, unless I can ask them to quieten down.
No, I don't think we can do that. There's too many people around, and they don't really like requests or anything like that.
Right. Should we go outside then, Oliver?
Yes, let's do that.
All right, well, I'll see you outside.
Yes, I'll see you there. Now, what is it you wanted to speak about, Caspian?
Right. Yeah, I'm not actually, I'm not entirely sure. It's a bit different now that there's not the strings in the background.
Yes, it's quite, isn't it, Caspian?
Yes, it is, Oliver. What to do with my father?
Yes.
You know my father?
Yes, I do. I know him very well.
No, you don't. You don't actually know him very well.
No, I don't, but I know of him very well.
Yes, well, everyone does. He's rich.
Yes. Yes, he's very rich.
Yes. Anyway, it's a bit of a sensitive subject matter, Oliver.
Yes. I like sensitive subject matters.
Yeah, I don't know why you're talking like that, Oliver, but let's get to the crux of it.
Yes, the crux.
Yes, the crux.
Yes, the crux.
Yes, the crux of it. Basically, my father's married a much younger woman. You're aware of that?
Yes.
And you also know that he's a blue blood.
Oh, yes. The bluest of all.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say the bluest of all.
Well, he's very wealthy.
Yes.
And old money as well. Very old.
Yes, the money, yes.
Yes. He's a dying breed.
Yes, well, that's exactly it, Oliver. He is a dying breed, and his much younger wife wants to have a child.
Yes.
And he can't.
What?
He can't.
What?
He can't.
He can't.
No, he can't.
What's wrong?
Do I have to spell this out, Oliver?
Yes, Caspian. Please.
I don't think I want to.
Please, Caspian, sate me.
What?
Sate me.
What?
Sate me.
Sate you? What does that mean?
Fill me.
Sorry?
Fill me with your tidbits of goodness. Like a snuff box.
Like a what?
Like a snuff box. Like a box. Fill me with it. Fill me, Caspian, fill me.
Right, you need to calm down. I'm not going to put tobacco in you.
No, of course not. No, just forget the sate thing.
Right, so moving along, Oliver, he actually asked me into his bed chambers recently.
Oh, my God.
What?
Go on.
Yes, well, he asked me into his bed chambers, and he got me to sit down.
Oh, my God. Really?
Yes, yeah. Are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine. Go on.
Right, so then he sat me down, and he told me that his undercarriage wasn't operational.
Yes, and then he asked you to touch him.
No, it's not that sort of story. It's not that sort of story at all, Oliver. Look, if I'm going to tell you this, you need to calm down and stop being such a lecherous weirdo.
Yes, sorry. I'm very sorry.
Right. Can you actually just move away a little bit?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yes, because you're actually a bit sweaty and you've actually just my shoulder's wet.
Yes. I'm sorry. I'll take 2 steps back.
Yeah, 2. 2.5. Is that all right?
Yes, 2.5.
Right. So moving along, he's asked me to provide for him.
Provide?
Yes.
But he's rich.
No, not financial. He wants me to donate my spirit.
Donate your spirit?
Do I have to spell this out, Oliver? He wants me to impregnate his much younger wife.
Oh, my God! Oh, my God! Oh, this is too delicious!
Yes.
How does he want you to roger her in numerous different ways? How does he propose that how does he propose? How does he propose that you do it?
Well, he wants me to expire into a flute.
A flute?
Yeah, a champagne flute, not the instrument.
Right, go on.
Yes, and then I assume he will in some way inject it into the mix, if you follow.
Right.
But why you? I'm a blue blood. I'm the last of our breed, and he says that if it's mine, then it's his. Do you follow? It's about stopping us from becoming common. We don't want to mix with the hubbub, with
with the standard Joe Blow. We don't want to be surrounded by plebeians. It's important that we maintain the elite few that we are. We're better than them, Oliver. Much better. And we must stay better. And the way we'll stay better is by impregnating our mothers and our brothers and our sisters and just keeping it in the family, really. Do you follow what I mean?
Yes, but you can't impregnate brothers.
Yes, but you know what I mean. It's keeping it in the family, right? We're keeping it in. Follow? In.
Yes. Yes, I follow. Well, if I was you,
Yes.
I'd go through with it.
Why?
Because there's not many of you left. Not many of you big, beautiful beings left. You're a chosen few. And if you don't procreate, then who will? That rabble out there, that uneducated, simple, sport-loving, bread-eating, finger-fiddling, they can't even read music.
Yes, it's true.
I mean, they can't even appreciate a string quintet.
No, they can't.
They don't even know what a quintet is.
What's 5, isn't it?
Yeah, but they don't know it's 5.
No, they don't.
They probably think it's, like something to do with a quill or something, or they probably think it's, they just don't know what it is.
No, they don't. They don't know. They don't know what it is.
They don't know what a quartet is. They don't know what a trio is. Oh, they probably know what a trio is. Yeah, well, trio sounds like 3, so that's obvious, but quartet isn't obviously 4.
No, it's not. It's not at all, Oliver.
No, see, they don't know that stuff.
No, they don't.
Yeah, so go for it, I say. Now, I'd hug you, but I am covered in sweat.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, it's not really that hot a day either.
No, it's not. I suppose I should go and, go and change my clothing.
Yes, probably. But look, thanks for the chat. It's wonderful to hear another opinion. You're a real sounding board.
Anytime. Shall we go back and enjoy the music?
Yes, after you've changed.
All right. Here's to you.
No, Oliver. Here's to you. You're a real friend, and a confidant, and a paramour, and a scholar, and a nice guy. And most importantly, you're my nice guy.
Yes. Yes, I am.
Right, that's it.
Is that birds at the end there, Dorje?
Yeah, birds. Yeah.
Were they birds?
Yeah, they're birds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how you ended it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, just, you shouldn't have broken the trance I was in again then. Like, you could have really...
Could have milked
Good
it more.
stuff, mate. It's nothing like the hybrid.
No, it's not. It's very different. Very different indeed.
Real diversity. And this time, 2 characters.
Yes. That was hard.
Am I speaking to one of them now?
No, that was hard. That was hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you record the voices separately, or did you just do it in one go?
One go.
It's very almost split personality of you that you're able to choom, choom, choom.
Yeah, you could say that. It's quite strange. Now, do you know what story it was alluding to in relation to my own life?
Oh, so we're not even going to go talk about it. You just want to move on to the...
We can if you want to anything else you want to say about it?
Like finding out about your process more. Like, is this similar?
Sure.
Did you have a similar big... You didn't have a big... Like, last time with the hybrid, with this kind of unhinged ramblings that you blamed on, a massive hangover and lack of sleep, whereas this time...
Yes.
Yeah, what was your kind of research beforehand? Were you watching some English royal court kind of dramas? What are they called? No.
None at all. No, just off the top of my dome. No, it was not written. Just off the top of my dome, all at once. A little bit of editing at the end, but I knew what theme. And similar to the hybrid, I practiced what I would say in the car and during the day when I was by myself at any given time. I would be talking to myself, trying different storylines and gags and interactions that I would then put down when it came time to do it.
Yeah, nice one. Oh, and then you just did it all in one go.
Yeah,
at the end. Yeah,
yeah.
What was their relationship? Who are they to each other? They're just mates.
That's a very good question, Jono. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities with those two.
We're going to be hearing from them again next week, are we?
Well, I beg your pardon? Well, next week,
No, I think next week's going to be in the style of Tim Winton, I think, is my feelings for next
fantastic.
week. A bit of Australiana this time. A bit more of the Nico Sando sort of Black Rocky, Nick Enrighty / Tim Winton world, because I did a audition for an audiobook for Breathe or Breath. I'm not sure what the correct pronunciation of the actual novel is, but it reminded me of that rolling, colloquial sort of Australian, slangy sort of fucking, that kind of thing. It'd be quite fun, I think, to do something in that style next week.
It's full disclosure. The Jono and Dorje podcast.
So, okay, I'm going to try and guess what it's about. Is it when your dad asked you to have sex with his current wife?
He didn't ask me to have sex with her, but
no, I get it, because blue blood, we can transpose blue blood here for Tibetan. And unfortunately, I still haven't met your dad. When I talk about Dorje as a Don Draper, there are lots of things that just come out very kind of like...
it's my genetic father. I shouldn't call him my dad, because I do have a stepfather who's been around since I was 4 or 5. But my genetic father did famously contact me and ask me to donate my sperm to impregnate his much younger Tibetan wife who had flown in from India.
I didn't know that.
And because... Yeah, I wasn't sure if you'd heard about this. And then what happened is basically he had erection dysfunction issues. He's getting on. He's not a young man anymore. And he brought this young lady over who's at my age, sort of in her early to mid 30s or around my age. And she wants to have a child. And he said, look, Dorje, if I don't provide her with a child, she'll probably leave me. And I said, okay, sure. No, I see. And they said, so maybe you could help me out with that. And I was like, I'm sorry. And he's like, you could help me impregnate her. I was like, are you asking? And it turned out he was asking what I thought he was asking. And he said, if it was yours, then it would still be Tibetan. So, because he has this thing about, basically he had a dream where I'm going to procreate with a Western woman, a white woman, and therefore the bloodlines will be diluted. And so it was very, very clear, important to him that he maintains the Tibetan side. And the other thing is he also leveraged things a little bit by offering to help me get a mortgage, get a place. And he quickly removed that offer when it became clear that I wasn't going to provide my sperm.
I thought when you just provided it too quickly, when you just FedExed a flute of semen. Oh, so yeah, right. So you could have got a mortgage out of it.
Yeah, that was the. It just quickly disappeared. It was like the narrative just expire. You come and he's like, no house for you. I now I've got your sperm. No, but no, he had this narrative that in Tibetan culture that if you don't own a property by 40, which I don't think makes sense because they're nomads, but they say that if you don't own a property by 40, you're never going to own a property. And he's like, it's important that we get this going, blah blah blah. And then suddenly, once I rebuked him on the ridiculous request, then of course the support, financial support.
Did you say I'll think about it?
No.
Did you say?
No, I did not.
Was it in person?
I said no. I was on the phone. I said no. You can. I'm categorically not going to impregnate your partner. It's ludicrous. It's not going to happen. So.
And
yeah.
How did he suggest you do it?
Oh, you mean the actual schematics?
Yeah.
No, there was nothing like that. There was no actual reference to the schematics. We didn't go that far. I didn't let it get that far. What was very interesting was I contacted my mum afterwards and said, "Oh, you never guess what Pasang just asked me to do," and she said, "Oh, did he ask you to impregnate his wife?" I said, "Yes." How did you know? Because I just expected that he would. The fact he was contacting you about helping you financially with the property seemed to me that there was something going on. Like she knew him well enough that would have been part of the deal.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's nuts, dude.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's crazy.
You'd be a motherfucker.
And this is the other funny thing. My brother would be my uncle. What would it be? No, my brother would be my cousin.
You'd be your brother's uncle.
No, my brother would. My brother would be my son. My brother would be my son, wouldn't it?
My brother is my son. I'd be my brother's uncle. My brother is my son. And I'm a real motherfucker.
But apparently in Tibetan society, it's quite common to share a wife if you're 2 brothers or 3 brothers, because you'd be sort of ranging around on the plains, you see, with like your 1,000 goats or whatever and your yaks, and then you put your tent up, and that there's not a lot of it's a bit economy really. You've got one person, and then you move around together. I guess shift work or something.
Your dad's full blood Tibetan.
That's right. Yeah.
So you're half Tibetan.
Correct. Yes, I am half.
So this baby, if this happened, would be 75% Tibetan. Is that how it works, or how did?
Yes, it would be. I guess 3/4. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Well, that's some full disclosure right there. So
there you go. There's some juicy full disclosure, people. It doesn't get much more mind-blowing than that particular offer. And the truth of life is often stranger than fiction. And that's what you can count on week in, week out on full disclosure. And I guess on that note, we'll wrap up this week's episode. Jono, I'll leave it to you, as customary, to sign off.
Well, we got to a lot of things today. We heard another great radio play. We heard Dorje's drop the bombshell about impregnating a stepmom. But we left a lot of stuff in the tank as well. So we're going to do another one really quick. We're hearing some great stuff from all you guys. You're enjoying it. Thanks so much for jumping on board. Full disclosure.
See you soon. Doubleheader coming to you soon.
Jono and Dorje, full disclosure in the raw.